Buster Olney, our baseball insider from ESPN, for joining us. Right now, we've got an old friend of the show that's been on the show before. It's been a little bit, but it's good to have Daimon Beathea back in studio to talk a little basketball. What's going on, man? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. It's good to get the whole gang back together, man. We hadn't talked NCAA basketball, a lot of things going on, and now we're on the international kick now.
Now I know that your squad lost, but where does, because you were there and you watched it up close at Madison Square Garden, where did that game rank amongst all the games that you've not played it but you've watched, that K-State Michigan State game?
It had to be number one. Just the excitement and the back and forth and getting to overtime, and neither team was up by more than 5, I believe, the whole one, and being in, on a great stage in the Sweet 16, and those Sweet 16 games are a lot better than those Elite 8 games, believe it or not, just because everybody's just fighting to get to that Elite 8 game. But it was great, and you know what? Hats off to K-State. Obviously, unbelievable performance by Noel that day, man. 20 and 19. That's very impressive.
Yeah, and some of the shots that he made were just what are you gonna do?
The shot that everybody got mad at Coach Izzo for saying lucky, like that in basketball terms, we call that a lucky play because how many times during the year had he hit that before?
Yeah, I mean, it was
Zero.
wild. Yeah, it was wild. So
how many times though do you see a guy throw a lob like that? That lob pass, and he turned right to your guy too and said, "Hey, watch this." What did you see all that happening live?
Yeah, I'm watching all that happen, and our guy fell asleep. He was watching Noel talk to Coach Tang, and he was thinking that he was trying to steal a call, and Johnson just cut back door and caught the lob and dunked it back. Dunked it, and it was a great game. I actually stayed for the next game too. I watched the K-State Florida Atlantic game too in New York, and that was a good game too. So,
well, let's get to it. You mentioned international flavor, and I'm looking at this press release here. Kansas City's Municipal Auditorium will host 4 international men's and women's basketball events, one each month from June to September in 2023. World Vision Sports and Entertainment. And you are the founder and CEO of World Vision Sports and Entertainment, an Overland Park-based company, will organize the events and plan to hold similar events in Kansas City every year through 2027. And so, I mean, you're the man, so we go right to the source. Tell the basketball fans exactly what's going to be happening from June to September at Municipal Auditorium.
Well, each month we will have what we call an 8 Nations event, and that's 4 on the women's side and 4 on the men's side. So we'll have in June, July, and August, we will have national teams from other countries, and we'll play in a round-robin event which accumulates on the last day of being like playing for first and second, third, and fourth place. What happens here is like across the world, a lot of teams need, there's almost like this set of the friendly matches. But what we've done is put it in an 8-nation format and did the men and the women together. So, and then in September, we'll have pro clubs from around the world participating. So we have a total of 64 games here downtown, in 8-day blocks, June, July, August, September, like I already mentioned. And it's exciting times. You're going to see some of the best players in the world that are not U.S. born. Every single player in this in our event will be of a professional variety. So it's a higher level of basketball than college. It's the international. It's a lot of these teams are trying to get a spot in the Olympics next year. Some have already qualified for the World Cup. And some are in a grassroots stand that they're trying to work their way up.
You said friendly. You got this guy locked in now. He's wide-eyed and bushy-tailed.
You know what? In all seriousness, though, this is one thing I love about the route the basketball is taken. And Jarrett Sutton, who's coming on the show later today, has spoken a lot about the way that basketball has really followed the soccer model of becoming a truly global game, as opposed to just being a United States or American sport. And obviously, there's great pro leagues all over the world. We learned that because players like J.T. Tiller, who was a great player to watch at Missouri, Stephen Wright, he's played all over the world. Steve Woodbury, I remember him from Kansas. Keith Langford have made millions and millions of dollars playing basketball professionally in other countries. And then we start to watch the Olympics, and now they've got the FIBA, World Cup. there are great basketball players growing up all over the world now. And so for the example that you're talking about, if this works for anybody that does follow maybe soccer a little bit, the She Believes Cup is taking place right now in the United States. And this is a deal that they got the Women's World Cup coming up later this summer. Mm-hmm. So teams want to play good competition to get themselves ready. Friendlies. It's like preseason. Yeah. So the United States women's national team will put on a competition called the She Believes Cup. It's for a trophy, but it's a competition, but they're friendlies, so to speak. But you get to watch the best players, Japan and Brazil and the United States and England or teams like that will come over here and play against each other, and you get to play the best women's soccer players. We get to watch them play here. Is that kind of similar to what we're talking about, this competition you're going to do on the basketball side?
It's spot on.
Okay.
Spot on, Nate.
So do you have the national teams coming already lined up? Which ones are going to be here?
Yeah, we have a few lined up. Right now we're trying to circle. Everybody wants to come in July and August because of a scheduling standpoint, but we do have the national team of Senegal locked in later this summer. We do have India locked in too as well in their particular months, and so we've got a few others as far as.
Is Pascal Siakam Senegalese?
Yes,
I'm trying to remember.
Yes, he is.
Will guys like that?
He'll be on their roster now. If he plays, that's a different story,
right.
But he'll be on their roster, and in the past, what has spurred this is that obviously my work in China, and we used to do 8 Nation events in China in which, we participate in the same type of event with Greece and what Giannis played, and being able to see these different players up close. If Slovenia comes, then Luka Doncic is on the schedule. Sweeve from Ukraine. We're going to have
Mikhailu.
And Alex Lynn, they're both on the Ukrainian national team, and so Ukraine is slated to come this summer. We're trying to figure out which month. Hopefully, we're going to be in June with Ukraine, and both of them are on their roster to come and to participate. And then you're going to see some guys and some ladies that you're like, wow, they've got some great game.
Well, you think about it this way. I mean, the reason I point like Pascal Siakam, one of the best players in the NBA, you look across the NBA now, and there are guys from all different sorts of countries, from Africa, all different sorts of countries from Europe. Like the original Dream Team, they'd play against, there were like 2 or 3 countries in Europe that had guys that could play, right?
Okay.
Now, when you look at an NBA roster, there are guys from everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere. And that also means, by the way, because I'm using that point about the college guys like JT Tiller or Keith Langford, really, really good basketball players.
Right.
Marquise Noel's probably going to be playing somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
All those national teams have players at that level, too.
Yes.
Not just the NBA guys, right? So you're going to be seeing pros, like real ballers.
Yeah, real pros, professionals. EuroLeague guys, EuroLeague, females as well. It's going to be a lot of, people might not notice this, but the women's side of things is going to be some really good, skilled players from around the world. There are a lot of players that are able to play in the WNBA, but won't play in the WNBA because they make more money overseas.
Yes,
there's a higher level skill set from a lot of different countries. So you're going to see some players and some names that pop up they'll definitely be on your radar for years to come.
So it's interesting that like you said, the women's basketball will be featured here as well because it's hot right now.
Yes,
and what we just saw with Caitlin Clark and her run with Iowa and LSU. And how great the South Carolina-Iowa game was, and how many eyeballs were on the LSU-Iowa game, and LSU winning the national championship. I mean, and I'm biased because I have 2 14-year-old girls, twins, that play basketball, coach them in basketball. They're getting ready to play high school basketball. We both have called women's basketball, and so we watched it a lot. But now it just seems like it's really on the cusp of, especially in college, and the stars I'm talking about, they're coming back again next year. But we're going to see a high level, and so this is maybe the right time for it to spark, right?
Yes, it is. It's And it's going to be great because at the pro level, on the women's side, it's a clean game. I mean, that ball movement, and I don't do nothing knocking the men's game, but that women's game, because we've had.
That's why the Final Four is so good.
That's
man.
right. I know, but you know what? In
you
the
don't
past,
gotta watch that ISO ball. One dude dribbling the rock for 15 seconds and taking a pull-up jump shot.
But you will not see a lot of ISO basketball in what we're doing because it's international play. The rules are different. We're playing by FIBA rules. The clock is shorter as far as, we're only playing 40-minute games, instead of 48-minute games. And now there's no illegal defense, so you can stack up and you can stack up on one side, but it's going to be a clean game. You got to move that basketball, and you got to, you got to get a shot off in less than, 2 dribbles to get into that basket.
So international, teams coming to Kansas City. Will there be, like we've mentioned, some international players have already made it to the NBA. Will there be any prospects that have yet to come over and play in the NBA that scouts could be looking at? Will there be some young players that could turn into stars that we'll see? Like, what will the mix be like with the rosters?
Well, the mix will be based off of what each one of the national teams wants. And so sometimes they have a young kid that's coming up through the chute that's 17 or 18 years old that they put and test out on the national team level. So you're going to see some kids that maybe are a little bit raw, but they've got a chance.
But you'll have some NBA scouts here.
Oh, yeah, the NBA
around.
scouts. Yeah, I've already talked to, obviously being a former scout in the NBA, I've talked to some scouts, and I know this is a good outlet for them because now they kind of got a cheat sheet so they don't have to travel overseas to see a lot of guys or a lot of young ladies and stuff. And that's the big plus about what we can have here is that and also too the cultural aspect of what's coming to town and each one of the the national teams and being able to partner with a lot of different cultural and ethnic groups here in the metro, and really, bringing it up. It's a worldly game, and we're going to put on a show for, showing that Kansas City is a worldly city too.
And so right now, June 12th through the 19th, July 16th through the 23rd, August 12th through the 19th, and September 19th through the 26th. A total of 64 games will be played over those 4 months. And I know at the end of the press release, it said that the ticket prices and other event-related information will be released but prior to the first event. So maybe around a couple of weeks before the first event in June, then we'll get all that information?
Yep, for sure. And I want to give a big shout-out to Mayor Lucas for, obviously coming out and supporting what we're trying to do, and also Kathy Nelson, the CEO of the Sports Commission, who obviously Kansas City is becoming a place to be from a sports aspect, and so we got a big shout out for that. And then also too, we've been getting a lot of inquiries about different things, and if people need to talk to us about inquiries, they can go to they can email us at sportsbiz at wvse.net. So sportsbiz biz at wvse.net.
Because it's going to take a lot of people to pull an event like this magnitude off, right? You're gonna, I've bbeen very blessed that we've got an opportunity to put together such a great, great group of people who've been helping, along the way. It's been unbelievable, and from obviously our COO Michael Jang, who's in here right now. And Mike's actually from Beijing, China, and he's here doing this. He and I met about 8 years ago, and then we have some great partnerships and consultants from Alfred B. White and with his consulting group to really help catapult us. Jim Marchione, who used to be KU's communications director, he's also on board as our doing a lot of good things for us on our communication side, and then we have some sponsorship agencies that have jumped on board, and obviously the city and everybody down at municipal and through the mayor's office, and then also we've got a partnership coming with our broadcast. Our broadcast rights are coming, so we'll be able to be on, nationally and in Canada. And then we've got some partnerships that we're working on between, obviously, back in China, too, as well. We're making it worldly, too, so everybody can see and we can spotlight Kansas City. See, that warms my heart this could be municipal because I mean, I'll always love Municipal because when I was a student manager at UMKC, that's where they played their games.
Yeah.
I fought at Municipal. There have been so many great events all the way back in the years, the Final Fours at Municipal, all these great sporting events, and they've made some great upgrades to it. And I love going down there and still watching the NAIA basketball tournament. I mean, this is a basketball town, and they've got some great venues, and that's one of them. It's got so much history that I really think that'll work well with the international game, and people could can go down there and enjoy that venue a little bit more because I think it's underutilized.
Yeah, and it's good to get that building lively in the summertime, and from a basketball standpoint. And we're all basketball, we're basketball guys up in here. At heart, we love the game of basketball.
Let's go.
And Municipal is it definitely is a basketball building, and it being a transplant, here from originally from Indiana. And this being a basketball town, this fits, and this fits everything that I love about the game of basketball.
Hey, real quick, so sportsbiz at what was the email address again?
It's sportsbiz, so SPORTSBIZ at WVSE.net. So
WVSE.net.
Yep.
All right, we'll put that out on social media too. People have any questions, they can hit you up. We've got Daimon Beathea here, Michigan State alum, putting on this amazing event that's going to happen at Municipal Auditorium. My dad, so here's one of my first memories of Municipal Auditorium is 1988 when the Final Four was coming here. Yeah. Our family couldn't get tickets to Kemper Arena to watch that Final Four, but we went to the practice they had that was open to the public before the game. But also, the Kansas City, they put on they put on events all over town.
Yeah, the NABC All-American game, and David Rivers threw me his towel.
Wow, there's Stephen. I mean, hey,
did it have Jerry Curl juice on there?
David Rivers.
They had a free basketball clinic you could sign up for at Municipal Auditorium, and they had different stations all around the court where famous Division I coaches would do a clinic for the kids. And John Chaney, I believe it was, did a clinic on rebounding.
Wow.
And that was the first time ever. I was in sixth grade at the time, but I remember standing under the basket at Municipal. I'd never been to Municipal Auditorium, and he did a clinic on, it's kind of the Dennis Rodman stuff about as soon as a shot goes up, you got to know which angle the shot came from. If it came from the baseline, there's a 50% chance it's going to bounce to the other baseline and all this stuff. And he taught you the angles of where the shot came from on the floor, how to anticipate the odds of where that rebound is going to come down. Right. And but I also remember my dad, as we walked through that place, telling me, and I don't know if the numbers are still this way, son, Marco, do you know this? More Final Fours have been played at Municipal Auditorium than any venue in the country?
No idea. No, I had no idea.
And now I don't know how long that'll be the case, but for the longest time, when everybody traveled by train, let's put that sucker in Kansas City because it's in the middle of the country and everybody can get there.
Yep.
And that's where all the Final Fours were for a long time. So you think about the roots of basketball, the original rules of the game are right down the road.
Yep.
When James Naismith invented that game, he just was trying to find something for people to do in the wintertime to stay in shape. If you could have told him there's going to be people from Senegal and Ukraine and China who are like some of the best players in the whole world flying to Kansas City to play for their national teams in this sport, who would have envisioned that even 30, 40 years ago?
You know what, Nate? I wouldn't have envisioned it because I was shocked in 2007 when take it back to 1996 when I graduated from college. Next thing you know, I was playing in Portugal as a professional, and you never thought about that growing up. It was always like, all right, my thing was like, all right, I got to get to college, and then you get to college, and I may have a chance to make some money playing this game, and now it's so worldly, and now obviously with technology, you can't, like they say, when in the NBA, if you are either living or playing underneath a rock, they're gonna find you because of the game is so global now, and what Commissioner Stern did back in this. I don't know if you guys know this story. So back in 1985, when Commissioner Stern had just got on in ّ84, he took the NBA All-Star game to China, CCTV5, and it was on tape. He gave it to CCTV5 and said, "Hey, play this." And they played it, and that started the expansion of basketball, in China, which is 450 million people watch the NBA.
Wow.
Yeah, some great markets of sports.
What's the NBA MVP race this year?
MVP? I think they'll give it to Embiid this year.
So, but who's it between? Embiid and who?
It should be
Giannis?
between Embiid and Jokic. I mean, I think that Jokic just had an unbelievable season too.
So think about what we're talking about.
Three international players are all up for the MVP. And it's more international players to come. I mean, this game is, because of how it is now, all the players play against each other. So back in the day, guys from Yugoslavia and Serbia and all that, they never had a chance to play against NBA players, all the time. So that's the one way your country gets to come up in the grassroots, is that, like, say for instance, ACB, quick story here, ACB, which is a Spanish league, right? It's one of the top leagues in the world. So what happened is they just put their best players out on the floor and let them play. They don't block off players like, hey, we only going to let you have 2 Americans. They put 5 Americans on the floor, 4 Americans on the floor, and now everybody else has to catch up. And if you're playing against good players and anytime you're going against the best every day, it's going to bring out the best in you.
Damon, we appreciate you coming in and talking about these series of great events. It's coming to Kansas City at Municipal Auditorium, 4 international men's and women's basketball events brought to you here by World Vision Sports and Entertainment and Daimon Beathea. And you got to keep us updated on all the updates when everything. You just come in here and announce it so we can get all the information out there.
Yeah,
right?
We'll make sure you guys are on top of it, and I appreciate you guys having us. And maybe we do a show from down at Municipal, man.
Yeah.
I know the games are in the evening, they're prime time, but still, we can still do a show,
Let's
man.
go.
Let's do it.
Hey, I got all my kids love basketball. We'll be down there, all right?
All right on, man.
Hey, Damon, thanks for the time, man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
We'll be right back after this on WHB.